Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Call of Duty World War II multiplayer exhibition. Maven here, I will be your host, and we're going to have some fun. We've got 7 of the best players from around the world, and one commentator here to compete against each other in World War II. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun, and to join me on the couch, we've got co-studio head Michael Condry, and also multiplayer systems designer Ray Rambo Lucier. First off, how you guys doing? You excited to be here at Gamescom?
Oh, thrilled. I mean, to be right here in the heart of Gamescom with the multiplayer beta around the corner, and tonight watching the best competitors play our game. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time tonight, guys.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We're going to touch on a bunch of different topics. We have some new features to show off, some new maps, and also talk a little bit about the esports side of things. So I want to get into it, but first, before we get there, let's talk a little bit more high level about what you brought this weekend to Gamescom with regards to the multiplayer, but more specifically the beta. It's like 2 days away now. You got to be pretty pumped.
Yeah, we really are. I mean, on behalf of Sledgehammer Games and Ray and myself, I mean, we're 2 days away from having fans get their hands on it live, right, worldwide, and that's exciting for us. We've got maps, modes, war mode, divisions. I mean, it is chock full of content, and we're 48 hours or less away from people actually letting us know what they think.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to talk a little bit more about esports and how important it has been to Sledgehammer Games. Obviously, we've got some of the best players from the world, some international all-stars here to join us, but I want to talk a little bit about, it's just a couple months ago, you had out myself, Jack, Puckett, some of the major commentators for esports for Call of Duty, and then also a lot of the pros, some who are here today. I'm going to talk to both of you about it, but first off, how important was that to Sledgehammer to get the guys out early, get hands-on with the game, and provide some excellent feedback for you guys?
Yeah, no, it was super important, and I think you probably saw on Advanced Warfare, I hope you saw that the studio has been committed to esports since the beginning. That's why we brought Ray in. Ray's been with us for 3 years now, and then to bring you guys out and have a whole week, having you guys embedded and really helping us flesh it out it's been critical to getting to tonight.
Well, Ray, we're going to talk more about your history here shortly, but we'll just touch you. You were one of the greatest Call of Duty esports players of all time, and now working on the development side here with Sledgehammer. What was that like for you to have everybody come out, kind of hang out with some former teammates, some professional players, and give you feedback on something you've been working on for quite some time now?
Well, it was actually great to have them out and reinsure some of the stuff we were talking about. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on design, and there's always questions that kind of linger, and having the pros there to kind of reinforce some of the thoughts we have was super useful. And I even got to play a few games, and I'm not as rusty as people may think. Connor's got to watch out,
You might be losing them to esports here soon. No, you were destroying some of the current pros, but we did have an opportunity to sort of testimonial videos, talk about what it was like to work with you guys, whether it was myself on Codcast or some of the pro players on different elements, whether it's weapon tuning, just going through all that stuff with you. We had a chance to sit down and chat. Let's take a look at the testimonial video.
Let's go. What's going to be +8 steps?
My experience thus far at Sledgehammer Games has been phenomenal. I'd say ever since we stepped foot in the door, it's been very warm and welcoming.
We've had a lot of fun playing the new Call of Duty. Basically, we've been trying to fine-tune the little competitive things, such as spawns.
We will sit there and grind the game for 8 hours a day, and then at the end of the day, the developers come in.
While they're playing matches, trying out various weapons, various maps, we're watching it through Codcaster mode.
I'm feeling really confident leaving that a lot of the feedback from us as casters as well as players has not only been heard, but will absolutely be worked on.
I feel like we gave some solid feedback as pros for the esports scene. The team has been super open to hearing all of our feedback. It's really awesome to have that kind of open dialogue.
They've been really accommodating and very open to what we've been saying.
The feedback session and you know, the results that come from those have actually changed a lot into the competitive play. First impressions of the game is it feels amazing. It feels like Call of Duty.
The weapons feel fantastic. The in-game sounds incredible.
First impressions of the game is really good. This movement's fluid.
The game's really fun, really smooth. It's back to that strategical, you know, team-based, teamwork style gameplay, which I personally love.
I'm just looking forward to going back to boots on the ground, to be honest, and playing a more methodical game where you get rewarded for your positioning skills.
I love Call of Duty. I feel like we're going to be in for a really good year this year.
Absolutely love 4v4 play. It's incredible on this game.
I would definitely say I'm excited for ranked play to return. That's something that I've been personally missing.
They're taking initiative to really making this game as competitive as it possibly could be.
This game, I feel, is going to be one of the better games for competitive, if not best. I feel like what we've done this week is really going to start off esports in this game.
This is the best viewing experience we've had yet in the Call of Duty franchise, and I'm so excited for people to be able to watch this now in the competitive scene, to see esports brilliantly displayed in World War II.
It was a fantastic time. It was great to spend time with both of you, all the pro players, and we're going to talk some more down the road about Codcaster and some input that we had. It was very, very cool. But for now, for maybe newer viewers not familiar with who Rambo Ray is, right? You're one of the longest competitors. I remember when I first transitioned to Call of Duty commentating, you were literally the guy I played with every day, taught me all the players, taught me all the strategies. I just want to kind of hear about your history as a competitive player, maybe for folks at home. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, yeah, I played professionally for 6 years. I've been at Sledgehammer for 3 now, right after my competitive career was over. The one thing I can attest to is how different it is from playing to being a developer. Right?
I bet.
So there's a lot of things that you learn. I've been learning things every day. Everyone at Sledgehammer has been super helpful in teaching me teaching me all the programs and all the stuff that we need to know as developers to make things happen. And it's been an awesome experience. Honestly, I didn't know I would like it as much, and I've fallen in love with the whole development process, and I can't express how grateful I am for the situation.
All right. Well, I'm sure you'd like to hear that. Sitting next to him. Very, very grateful, very excited to. But I want to talk a little bit about, I want to hear both of your, I guess, opinions on this. But for you, obviously, you know, Advanced Warfare, incredible game. This is about as different as it can be when you take a look at actual playstyle mechanics. What's it been like for you, to get back to boots on the ground and just I think the reception from the public, just, this is a labor of love for you. It has to feel great.
Yeah, it really has. Thank you for that. I mean, Advanced Warfare, it was really about innovating in the franchise, and I think we did that in a big way. And in retrospect, maybe too much at times. With the new movement set and thrust and boost, it was great then. But coming back to boots on the ground now, to that gun-on-gun action that made Call of Duty great, that strategic gameplay, where the roots of the franchise began, it has been remarkable. And since the reveal with people back in late spring to E3 to now, it's just been a wonderful journey.
And then quickly from you, Ray, I mean, that was your bread and butter when it came to tournament play and some of your best results. The $1 million tournaments where you came in second, top 2 multiple times. Sorry, no ring yet,
No
but
rings yet, yeah.
Hey, you made it.
Likes bringing that one up.
You had some incredible finishes, though. I just want to hear, going back to boots on the ground, what's it like for you? Because now you've probably watched the past several years for esports, but this has got to be special to you.
Right. Obviously, the past couple of years of Boost were a lot faster paced. We didn't see the strategy kind of come out, which was my kind of like what you said, my bread and butter for the times I played. And it's really cool seeing that from the times we've seen pros play so far, it's really all about strategy, teamwork, maneuver around the maps, controlling spawns, kind of what you expect in the past, and actually even better now with the different things we brought to the game. So I'm super excited to see what goes on this year and see the meta develop as the years goes on.
I certainly am too. But I know it's exciting. We're all ready for the gameplay. I know that's what most of you are here for. We have, again, 7 phenomenal players, 1 commentator, and I don't know that he's going to compete very well in Courage. But to break down the teams, we've got Momo.
Thank you very much, Maven. And yes, you've touched on it already. We've got a real mixed bag. We've got players from all over the globe representing North America, Europe, and also we've got Jack Courage Dunlop. He's going to be the captain, as you can see, of the team to my right. We've got a world champion back-to-back in JCap. And, of course, European 29 times champion, Tommy. And right on the end there, it's the man who likes a wink. It's the breakthrough player of Europe. It's Dave. Now, that's only one side of the desk. Flipping things over, I do want to introduce you to 4 other players. A lot of people will say he's the most popular face in German Call of Duty, of course, Visca Barca. He's going to be captaining this squad. And working our way down the line, phase member, it is, of course, Attached, world champion in his own right. Followed there, Splices 0, a.k.a. Trey. And right on the end there, Silly, representing United from North America. These guys will be going head-to-head. 5 maps. They will be playing every single one. Guys, back to you on the couch.
All right, appreciate it, Momo. All right, so we're going to be going to the Arden Forest, I believe, for CTF to kick things off. First off, I want to hear kind of your take on Arden Forest. Maybe tell me a little bit about it. What makes this map special?
Yeah, this is a great map. It's in the beta, so people can get their hands on it soon. It takes place in the middle of the dead of winter in the Battle of the Bulge. And, of course, we're coming back to CTF, so it's going to be a fan favorite. I look forward to seeing how this goes tonight.
Yeah, I do too. And I want to hear from you, Ray. I mean, CTF, I think one of your favorite modes all time. Obviously, we didn't have it last year in esports, but it's back. I've played it. It's amazing. What do you love about Capture the Flag?
I mean, like we reinforced earlier, it's all about strategy and team play, controlling spawns, making sure you pull the flag and get the cutoffs, and it's everything you would expect that we've had in the past. And I feel like the division is actually to come in fruition here at its best and really show players and kind of roles and how it's going to impact the teams to play at the highest level.
Well, speaking of highest level, I think Attach is starting to get the guys fired up. But for this, you guys, are you favoring a side? First off, Michael, anyone you're taking in this, you cannot pick Courage's team. It will disgust me.
Okay, then I will not.
No, but it's going to be great. And shout out again to the studio. Like, how beautiful are these map intros? This is phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you very much. A lot of time and effort put into crafting this experience, and with Ray's help and the team's help on design, you know, it really is set up for a great match tonight.
All right, well, thank you, Michael. We're going to bring Momo in now as we're going to cast our first match. Ray will join us here as well. But it is going to be CTF on Arden Forest. And Momo, you know, we talked a little bit about some loose predictions here for us. Who are you taking, buddy? I saw Jack gassing himself up.
It's not loose for me. This is 100% Team Visca Barca. I can't see Jack kind of stepping it up and really, you know, pulling his weight with these guys on the other side of him. But we'll have to wait to see. I'm going Team Visca Barca.
Well, we're right into things, and we're going to start off with Attach. He was hyping the squad up big time as they were getting ready to go in this. But first and foremost, I mean, I love the new look of Codcaster as far as the colors. Just even X-ray standing out to me. Momo, it looks beautiful, buddy.
Straight away, there you go. Big red bar. Flag has been captured. Courage. Though I'm not necessarily Courage himself, but Team Courage has already scored 1. That's coming from Cap. But like you said, David, for me, it's just kind of, you know, having that first look at you know, potentially what can be for, you know, the rest of the year. And you know what? It looks spectacular down to, you know, the graphics, the game, just the way things are set out. Very, very excited for this one.
And Ray, talk to me a little bit about maybe how this map plays. As I'm going to get back to Cap as he is yet to die.
So yeah, it's like kind of your classic 3-lane map. It has 3 main cuts, 1 on the rune side that goes to the center, and 2 on the forest side that go to the center as well. So controlling mid-map on this map specifically is super important. You control the middle lane, you control the flow of the map, you control how people are flowing through the center and across the map. So both teams are going to be really, really putting a lot of focus on that.
And we see as we're on board with Dave right now, he's going to have the Type 100 out as he's trying to make a play across mid-map, which you were just discussing. I think some streaks are coming in from his team as well. It might have been Cap, I believe, who started out strong. They've already got this 1-0 lead. I'm going to... Courage, when we were doing rehearsals earlier, I think Courage was like, what, averaged about 10 and 25, 10 and 30 throughout most of that?
I watched him play a couple maps earlier, and they were practicing, and Courage team was having the edge. So, like, it's going to... I think Courage team might take this as much as you guys hate hearing this.
Yeah. Well, they are so far. Zero, who stood out to you the most? I kind of want to talk about some of these guys came out to Sledgehammer. Remember, they played earlier. I think Cap was there. Zero, one of the guys as well. Who really stood out to you as some of the players that headed out to Sledgehammer for that first visit?
Yeah, I don't want to play any favorites, but Zero was playing really well when he was there. We had Crin was playing awesome too. I mean, all the players there were holding their own. And I think it's a great testament to like kind of show like Boost was something for the last 3 years, but the players that were good at Boost are going to be good at Boost on the ground as well, I think.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And there is another flag out. JCap holding on to it for now. I believe flag is out on both sides. Zero has it out for Team Visca. JCap for Team Courage.
And I think as well, just important, you can see that mini-map so clear, obviously, where that flag is going, where those players are spawning. And the great thing I want to point out is I'm just so happy to see CTF back. You know, this is a fan favorite, my very favorite. But no, the flag is not going to make it in, or is Attach going to seal the deal? Yes, he is. Visca Barca ties things up there 1-1.
Courage had a chance to go clutch there.
And he almost had it. I thought he had it for a second, so it was like things were lining up for him as he saw on the X-ray. But he wasn't able to close out the second kill.
Tried to make the sneaky play, but as they get capped on, they've got a cap out. Tommy had it for a moment, but that'll be returned by Silly almost immediately. Just a couple minutes left here in the first half, but I mean, it's going to be great. I just can't wait to grind the game. It's so odd, we don't know. I mean, Ray knows a lot more about it. I don't really know the strategies, the call. We haven't spent a ton of time. And just a reminder to folks at home, especially that have followed Call of Duty esports, these are not necessarily what are going to be the competitive maps. We have not gotten a rule set. This is just a showcase. The guys having fun and showing off some competitive gameplay, but there's still a lot of work to be done with that regard.
Yeah, obviously everything's up in the air. We're trying to showcase maps that have a better chance today for the most part, so I think it's important that players, obviously as viewers get their first eyes on this, obviously it's still super early, but yeah, we're trying to make every map as competitively viable as possible so that players, when they come play, they have the best opportunity to make the rule set as wide and diverse as they can.
Well, Ray, it looks like we may be going into the half with a game tied at 1-1 unless someone can be the difference. Attach tries to get cute there, but it'll fall. Zero, you mentioned how good he's been. He's definitely leading the way thus far.
Yeah, Zero for me has really stepped up. The great thing that I think is the biggest change is how important positioning is on the map. You can't just run out into the open and take that gunfight. You've got to really work with your surroundings and really use that to your advantage. And you can see that Zero is implementing that so well.
Like kind of adding to that point, like in the last couple of games of Boost, a lot of times you see a player hold a choke point. Maybe you get a 1 kill when 2 or 3 guys push through. It's really easy to trade kills. But now, if you're holding a strong position, seeing 2 or 3 guys come in front of you, you actually kill all of them if your shot is correct. So trading kills is important, but it's not as easy as it used to be. It's really about positioning.
Well, would you say you got to think with the pace of the game slowing down, you're going to have less kills on the map typically compared to maybe some previous titles. How much more important are things like maybe multi-kills? Like if you're going to get a 2-piece, pick up 3, like how huge is that? Like what a difference is it in a game like this?
Well, yeah, but it's really about the time to come back to action, right? Like because if you spawn far around the map with Boost, it was relatively quick to get back to the point where you need to be at. So obviously your action rate per map is higher. Now that the kills per map and the action rates are still very high, it's going to be a lot harder to get back to the action correctly. So obviously positioning, teams pushing spawns as far back as they can and maneuvering to that extent is going to make a huge impact on who wins games.
Well, seeing a shot of the team right now as they are getting ready for the second half. All tied up at 1-1. Who are you taking in the second half, Momo?
I'm sticking to my guns. I'm going Team Visca. I think Team Courage, obviously, they started very strong, but ever since then, it has been a very even battle. And you know what? I didn't think these teams would be quite as close as they are. Maybe we will see a little bit more, obviously, in the game modes later on. But what I'm enjoying as well is not just kind of, what I was saying was in the positioning. It is the strategy that comes in. You're going to get those roles almost, back in, this game in particular. And for myself, and I think Ray, obviously, you had that objective player and that was gone. That has gone in the last couple of years. I feel like that may come back.
Yeah, I probably would have been pretty bad at the game the last couple of years. Right?
I'm exactly the same.
I couldn't just get around running Vector anymore. I actually had to shoot my gun. Yeah, but kind of adding to that point, right? We have divisions, and divisions offer a couple of things that we really want to see. There's a speed difference with the airborne division that allows you to run faster. The infantry division allows you to have a little more attachment, a little more emphasis on your weapon. And then we also have like the mound that gives you dead silence. So there's a lot of play there, and we're actually seeing armored. It's something we haven't seen that much, at least for internally play. But armored gives you flak jacket and attack. So certain things we've seen in the past are really labored into what will come out as role play. You'll see a lot of different diversity at that point, where certain players that are playing certain roles, like objective on a hard point, you want to be able to survive a lot of grenades since they play a big part in the game. So you really want to be able to stay alive at that, be able to run around faster with a flag, running airborne. So I think it's pretty cool that we'll see kind of role play like Phil was saying.
Well, speaking of roles, you saw Tommy just get the flag run across and take a 2-1 advantage in this one. I heard Courage getting the boys hyped up as they've now taken the edge with 3 minutes to play. And I know we haven't really seen them yet, but how much more important do you think things like score streaks are going to be in a game like this, where kills are more important, maybe the pace slows down? I gotta think those are even more valuable, right?
Oh, 100%. And I would argue that they're probably going to be a little harder to get because of the play style and positioning matters. I think teams in like late Black Ops 2 and Ghost were really about understanding positioning and making sure that when they get hard points, if I'm controlling a hard point, your team's pushing me, and I understand that your players are close to streaks. At the pro level, players would know that they won't have to push anymore. And I think that's something we'll see again. So I think streaks would be hard to get, but definitely more influential, like you said.
I just agree with Ray. I think, everything that almost has, is harder to get, but you're so much more rewarded. If you get that kill streak, which is going to be harder to get, or you get that flag, it just kind of takes more time. Even your life itself, you have to stay alive. You go down, you're letting, a gap in the defense of your team. So everything just seems so much more intense.
Well, I think I see why Silly might be struggling in 9-18 is you saw him just sprint and jump out around the edge. That may have worked earlier this year. That's not gonna fly in this game as much, you would think, as you talked about how important positioning is. Challenging out of position like that certainly going to punish you, and a big part of probably why he's 9-18 right now.
No, exactly, and I feel that's one thing that kind of comes back in the role play as well. You're gonna have players that focus a lot more on killing, players that focus more on like pushing forward and trying to push that offensive push, and also playing a defensive role more. And I think it's super cool, and I think it's something that Call of Duty really needs to thrive as an esport. So yeah.
And just maybe for new viewers at home, just to give you an idea, when you see that X-ray, when you see them filled in entirely in blue, entirely in red, when you see it kind of open up, become translucent, that is when they're not hiding behind a wall. They're not hitting the edge anymore. But the big thing here is Cap's got the flag out. This could be the dagger with just over 60 seconds left. If he can get this through, nobody there to deal with it. 3-1 advantage for Team Courage. And Jack getting him hyped up with the "Let's go, boys" over and over.
This is Jack's new career. He's been telling me he's been doing some pre-game stretches, and we get to see streaks straight away. This is what really kind of gets me excited when we see new things that no one's seen before, and already influencing the game. 3-1 at the moment.
Why does Courage have the most kills in the game right now? And he's on his 6th streak.
16. He's not up there.
I was thinking Tommy right now. I thought we were,
give him too much
for 1 second I thought we were watching. I saw the Courage at the bottom left, and I was thinking that was him going up. That was Tommy dominating, one of the greatest European players of all time.
Well, kind of what Mo was saying, that streak we saw was the glide bomb, which is a very, very good streak, kind of similar to what to certain things you've seen in the past, but it's got a little flavor of its own where the camera falls. It's super awesome to watch, and the fact that we can see it in broadcaster is super cool as well. So, yeah. I don't think it'll be as impactful in CTF, but obviously if it flags out, it allows you to kind of stop the flag run or at least slow it down. But in modes like Hardpoint, where you clear out and search and destroy, obviously take players off the map and get information from it is super useful.
Well, as the final seconds tick away, Game 1 to Team Courage. And again, we're playing 5 maps regardless. Even if it's a swift 3-0 and what would be a best-of-5 series, we're going through all of it. But the guys fired up. Well, the first game. Certainly a treat there. I don't know how much the mic's picking up these guys, but they're having an absolute blast. But Momo, first takeaway from the first CTF we've kind of seen played competitively here. I still have trouble saying that with Jack playing, but.
For me, just seeing CTF back itself is a very positive point, but I do also think that these guys just kind of going head-to-head and seeing that CTF, I'm just so glad it's back, but I think we will see it develop. Obviously, the very first game, you're going to see, players doing things wrong, but when these guys get into the game and have it for a couple of weeks, we're going to see strategy coming in. We're going to see, I'd like to see maybe more smokes, all kinds of things like that. I'm just excited to see how far this can really go, but first thoughts, amazing.
And I'm hearing, I guess there was a bit of an audio issue through the first map. Once we got into gameplay, that will be resolved for the next one, just so you guys know at home. Tweet the stream, come and watch. We're having a great time, but we do have actually Jack Courage Dunlop ready with an interview.
I mean, first off, what a first series. My team looking fantastic. The other, we'll have to see if they can bounce back. But JCap, the 2-times world champion here, one of the winningest Call of Duty players of all time. Before we can get about the team, impressions so far of the game this weekend.
Game feels great. It's great to be back on boots on the ground. Game runs smooth, and it's a lot of fun so far.
Yeah. No, we're definitely having a blast here. Now, Team Courage up 1-0, as you guys can see, pretty dominant there in the CTF. Led by JCap. We're all putting up big numbers, but we've got some European veterans on this side. Europeans in CTF, typically not the best in history, but right now, showing up big time. What's impressing you with our teammates?
We just all played well that map. You know, it's a great team effort to start the series, and just got to keep it rolling.
Well, so far, it has been easy on this side of the stage. Thankfully, we've got Hardpoint up next. Maven and Momo crew, take it away.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, so yes, it will be Hardpoint coming up next. We're going to be going to Gibraltar. It's going to be a fortified base on the cliffs of Gibraltar. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. But talk to me a little bit, Ray, about this particular map and maybe a little bit about how you like Hardpoint, how it plays in this game.
Yeah, we've seen the map a little bit in recent gameplays from the esports and such. It's super strong mid-map focus. Everything feeds into the middle of the map. You have different heights, levels, which makes controlling the top part of the map super important. So you're going to see AR play kind of control the top side, Hardpoint in the middle, SMG players with armored kind of controlling that side. And then as the Hardpoint transitions, you're going to see the players that feed across that basically in the bad spawns kind of try and flow through the middle of the map, and the other team trying to control that space. So there's a lot of different dynamics on this map, and then height is super important.
All right, we'll be getting into it shortly. Players getting ready to load up, and we'll get into the second game. Thank you for those joining us. And again, any audio issues from the first map will be fixed continuing now in this series. But Momo, From game 1 to game 2, how do you think Team Visca Barca is going to bounce back? Whose shoulders do you put it on here to try and clutch up and take a W?
I think, Team Courage right now, the hype that he's bringing to that team.
Stop it.
He's a hype man. He's not only putting numbers up, he's an objective player, he's a slayer. No, I'm giving him a little bit too much hype there. But I honestly think these teams are pretty fair, and I didn't think that would be the case. I thought we may have a bit of a one-sided one, but the guys have done well here. But talking about map 1, we were kind of saying beforehand, CTF and how good of a game mode it is. Flashbacks to playing against Rambo. That was not a nice thing. North America has been dominant, I'm hoping, this year. I'm hoping the Europeans can kind of step up their CTF game.
Well, what's it? I'm curious for you, Ray, just to hear maybe what it's like for you now. You competed forever. It's got to be. Is it difficult now to sit back and watch others compete, or is it kind of great because you worked on the game, so it's got to feel kind of nice?
It's not as bad because I was involved in the process, and seeing how it kind of comes to fruition is one thing that I've been super excited about, and finally getting to talk to it, being in the shadows for so long. I mean, it's great to come out and finally get my hands on with everyone and be able to talk about it in public. It's great.
No, I think it's amazing the support that Sledgehammer's given from esports, from hiring you obviously into bringing us out to work on the game, and we still have some new maps to show. We have some features in Codcaster that we haven't even touched on yet, which we're saving for a map later in the process. But we've still got a lot of action to go, and thanks for being patient. We should be into the next game here momentarily. But what about Hardpoint? What's maybe the single biggest difference now that we're back to boots on the ground for maybe players that started playing Call of Duty in the past 2 to 3 years? What do you think is going to be the biggest difference?
Anchoring is everything. I'm not saying anchoring in boost wasn't important, but anchoring in boots on the ground is the most important thing you can have. Is pushing players across the map and spawns. That time that you had to boost across the map and get there faster obviously isn't there anymore. So if you get a cross map spawn and your team isn't controlling spawns, you may get 1 or 2 chances at getting back control before you have to think about rotating again. In the past, you maybe had 5 or 6 tries to kind of run across and try and break it, or even playing for the last 10 seconds of scrap time, knowing that you could get back to the next position fast. Now it's really about understanding how to get those positions quickly and really making sure you win the rotations.
Well, Ray, it's time to hop into Hardpoint on Gibraltar, and God, I'll tell you, those intro videos into the map flythrough, absolutely gorgeous stuff. But if you're just joining us, Team Courage was able to take game 1. We're about to hop into game 2. And I think a big part of trying to take a victory here for Team Visca is going to be the performance of Zero. We're going to kick things off with him.
I think as well, now we're going to jump into Hardpoint. This has been, a fan favorite for the past 2-3 years. Everyone likes that fast action play. It is going to be a little bit different. You're going to see people play a little bit slower, a bit more reserved, especially when they maybe aren't as used to the map or aren't as used to the rotations. But it is that dangerous moment where you step into that Hardpoint, it lights up red or blue, and, it's all go.
Yeah, and as we start the map, it's the center hardpoint is the first one, and a little bit different in previous games. Something I've found, maybe I'm completely wrong, but something I've seen from when people play is that the center hardpoints actually are scoreable. In the past, especially the past couple of years, when you see center hardpoints, it's all about kind of scrapping time a little bit here and there or contesting. But the hardpoints, the way to position in our game, every hardpoint is a scoreable hardpoint. So I think it's important for teams to understand that getting to a quick start is possible now. Getting up to that 55-0 lead to start a game is very feasible.
Well, it looks like it almost is happening right now. It's off the first hardpoints, a 38-0 lead for Team Courage. 3 streak for Dave, 3 in a row for Tommy as well. Let's go over to Tommy, actually, as he's now picked up 4 and got to be working towards these streaks.
And I think this is what Ray was saying. Height is so important, and the fact that, you have to, climb those stairs or, climb those ladders or whatever it may be, getting that advantage over the opposing team is so important. But I just want to take a second just to kind of take in the visual effect of this map. Just the visuals itself is a beautiful map. I'm one of those players that likes to, enjoy the graphics, enjoy kind of what's around me. I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big fan here of Gibraltar.
It's absolutely gorgeous, but what's a little bit prettier, maybe Tommy's gameplay right now. 7 streak. I just heard Courage yell, is it 50-0? The answer is a swift yes, and it continues to grow. Someone needs to let Visca and his boys know the game has started.
Yeah, as you look at the minimap, kind of what we reinforced at the start about anchoring, if you look at the blue arrows, they're spawning all the way across. And in fact, they already started giving up on this hard point about 15 seconds before it switched. But here we have a streak. We have an artillery barrage, probably called by Tommy, that's controlling the next hard point, making sure that it gives his team time to rotate around. As you see, they're trying to flank and get control of those spawns. It's super important for Team Visca Barca here to stop them, because if they don't, it's going to get to a landslide real fast.
Well, let's look at his point of view. We'll swap. He's going to be challenging Dave. He's pushed from both sides, dropped, and that should be an early break here for Team Courage yet again. Only 1 point on the board. I was really thoroughly looking forward to Courage losing and embarrassing himself live on stream, but somehow his motley crew is doing that to Team Visca as the score continues to grow.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a 250-1 game?
I hope not, but it's a really big testament as how position matters. I mean, not bashing on any teams here, but we can see that the coordination of Team Courage here is a little better. Probably communication-wise a little higher. The intensity from the team is obviously better. So it really shows how things can slip out really fast and boots on the ground, and for Hardpoint specifically. So teams have to learn to rotate quicker and play better.
Well, you got to think there's going to be, especially for professional esports players that have come around in the last couple of years, there's going to be a bit of a learning curve, right? The constant holding forward and challenging every gunfight, that's going to need to go away pretty quickly in this game. Do you think that's going to be a struggle for maybe some of the players just to adapt in the early months of World War II?
I don't think so. I think the difficulty in adapting is learning how to be patient and making sure that your team play is the thing that matters. I mean, gunfights obviously matter. You can't win a game without winning a gunfight. I can attest to that single-handedly, that I was able to sustain myself with smarts, but obviously my gun skill wasn't the best in my playing career. But really, teams, kind of what Momo said earlier, how teams are going to be learning and the meta is going to be changing as the game goes on. I think you'll probably see a little more kind of crazy loose start, but as the game goes on and develops, people are going to learn that team play is more important.
And even going back to boots on the ground hardpoint, you kind of, I'm watching this now and you realize, and you can see via the minimap, is when you get that good start, you start building those score streaks, you start, building that momentum, it really can, start to snowball a little bit, and especially from a team that is down, they maybe don't know the right routes to push, the way they break in. It's good to see the dive coming back in as well, which is I personally have missed, which you can see Cap utilizing there, but this is so one-sided.
Yeah, and kind of what you said, the snowballing factor. I think this is one thing that I personally enjoy, is that the more consistent teams are going to probably win more often than not. Something maybe
that's how it should work, right?
Yeah, something maybe we didn't have with Boost, because Boost obviously had a very high, fast pace, and it was mostly about gun skill and winning your engagements and training as a team. There's still team play. I'm not saying that at all, but it's really to the point where, like, if a team is clearly better than another team in a hardpoint mode, for example, it's going to be really hard for that team that isn't playing as a team. Well, even though winning gunfights can help, if you don't win the gunfights at the right positions, they don't mean anything.
Maybe Boots JCap is back. I know he's known as one of the greatest jetpack player of all time, as he has won 2 championship rings, and those second place most recently at a Call of Duty championship. But it's look at him right now, 20-10. I don't think I've seen a double positive game out of him in quite some time. So we'll see if this is something that'll continue throughout this year. But it's not just him, man. Tommy also dominating right now.
I'm used to JCap playing well. I mean, I teamed with the guy for a long portion of my career, and
that's
he was always
true.
Playing well. We teamed for a long time. We won a lot of tournaments together, so it's great to see that he's still in form and can bring the Boots JCap back. I think I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I think he's been taking some flack recently. He'll certainly be looking to prove the haters wrong this next year. But still a 100-point advantage for Team Courage. We'll take a look at the minimap as you see Team Visca currently holding Courage and company trying to break in these final 30 seconds with hardpoint.
Yeah, nice to actually see Team Visca getting a few points on the board, and well needed. They're going to break that 100-point mark. Or 100-point difference, should I say, as they get 45 to their name. But again, you look at the players like Tommy and Cap, and do you know what stands out to me is across all of these 8 players, who are the ones that have been around, nearly a decade, have been playing for years upon years across every platform. You look at Tommy and you look at Cap, and it is just being able to adapt. And I do think as well you're going to get those players who are very good at the start of the game, which they'll have that natural ability. But all these players, they'll be learning, they'll be adapting, and these players right here, they're going to be scary coming up against the at the start of the game. They're going to have that little bit of extra practice.
This is twice we've seen his hardpoint come through the Castle's hardpoint, and both times Team Courage was able to break. Actually, bring that back. Team Visca just broke it again, so they got a chance to come back here.
Well, let's see if they can actually do it. As you say that, 3 end up dropping. I think Visca versus the last one here to make a play. He's dropped, all dead. Courage and company back in very, very quickly, and you've got Tommy set up in a power position as he's going to line up too. And I think that speaks to what you were mentioning earlier. Again, the multi-layers here, having the high ground. You can't go vertical now. Like, you can't just go up and pick somebody off of cover like that. You can see how dominant you can be in that type of position, right?
And yeah, even though Team Courage has a huge lead here, Visca needs to just give up on that hard point. Even though there's 30 seconds left and you're like, oh, we're not going to come back on if we don't get some points here. But contrary to belief, like we just saw Team Courage have a crazy start, you can go on these 150, 160 point in a row by controlling the rotations, and it makes that kind of like 20 seconds of the last hard point be really interesting to watch.
Oh, even last year where maybe it's a little faster, a little scrappier, we saw 100-point comebacks all the time. But now it's a streak out for Tommy. It seems like he's earning them multiple times a game. The glide bomb kill comes through, and he gets pushed and finds both.
Oh, man. Tommy's just destroying right now.
He's on a 9-kill streak as well, working towards that double digit. The first one we will see, and it will come in there. Again,
oh my goodness! Hey, that kill.
Silly. No.
working that infantry division to max power in there.
Onto his belly and a knife to the ankle for the kill. That's never the way you want to drop.
And one thing we saw, actually, I would like to touch on is the, excuse me, I'm having a brain blank.
Oh, no, I have those all the time, right? I've been a commentator forever, and when my brain stops working, which is frequent, the words stop coming.
The Molotov cocktail has a score streak. It's one of our kind of like lower end score streaks. We don't have like things like the RCXD anymore. And the Molotov is a very good, it's kind of like a grenade. It's kind of like an area of effect. You can control choke points and such for a very short period of time.
Shut off
and I feel we're going to see those a lot by pro players. That's probably going to be the low end score streak they use. And they're not incredibly strong, but they're super useful to kind of negate spaces to opposing teams.
I think, you know, seeing Tommy utilize the Molotov already, you know, just throwing at those gaps, those cutoffs that, you know, really can take them by storm. But, you know, Tommy is clearly having one of the better games right now, and it's kind of good to see at least, you know, someone do this, because we get to see obviously the score streaks. We're going to see those kind of special abilities as well kind of come in, which is great to see. But as well, his weapon of choice, the STG, a weapon which has not been in Call of Duty for a very long time. I'm happy to see this back.
Well, talk to me a little bit about the STG, right? What makes it a strong weapon?
It's a very good automatic AR. We have a lot of mixture between ARs being semi-automatic and full auto. Most of our full auto guns have shorter clips. A lot of our weapons that have shorter clips are not in this. Obviously, we have a restricted build for the, for the beta. So this is the build they're playing on. So when the full game ships, we'll have a bigger mixture of weapons. But for the beta, this is probably your best bet as far as automatic AR. It's super strong, super consistent. As you can see, the players are able to kind of use the versatility of the full auto at mid ranges and also still be able to compete SMGs at close range. But the damage is actually lower and on the lower end in comparison to our other ARs.
Interesting. I'm going to play an unhealthy, ungodly amount of this game at launch. I cannot wait. If you haven't pre-ordered the game yet, go ahead and do it. It's going to be so fun. I mean, you've seen the public reception of from the trailer, from the gameplay at E3, at Gamescom. It's a special one, man. I'm so excited for next year, and I'm proud of you, Ray. I've known you for a long time.
Hey.
You're the guy that brought me into Call of Duty and taught me everything that I know.
Hey, it's not
I
only
still
me,
don't know
man.
much, but you've been very helpful.
Everyone at Sledgehammer needs to be credited for everything we do. Like, we have a really awesome team of people.
Sure
and
do.
people that have learned. Like, people had no idea about Beta in the past because those people kind of live in the shadows. And as I've lived in the shadow for like 3 years now, and all those people are super embedded and super devoted to what they do. And as much as pro players do, like, you would think that like the game devs don't work maybe as much. Like, pro players play for like 8-9 hours a day. Game devs are at the studio for like 10-11 hours grinding, making sure that everything's final, everything's good for the players. So I feel like they deserve a huge prop.
I think what blows my mind, you know, when we went out to Sledgehammer, is just how many people are involved in creating the game. It's absurd to me. It was fantastic to go. I mean, the atmosphere was amazing, but just the sheer number of manpower and hours it takes to create these games is unreal.
There's something estimated about like maybe like 500 or 600 people that are involved in the creating process of what it is. And when you think about it, it's like, that's absolutely insane.
It really is. It really
so many people, and like Ray said, it is kind of so important. Not everyone can, you know, have the face on camera, but, you know, a lot of people behind the scenes, so credible. But I just want to say I've been playing, you know, Call of Duty now for over a decade, and I've not had this excitement in a very, very long time. I don't think I've ever had this amount of excitement for a new Call of Duty. It just, for me, seems like, you know, everything's been prepared before. You know, we're going into a game which is going to be fantastic from day one. And I think Rambo just touched it then. This game's going to get better than what we're seeing right now. You know, there's going to be changes and developments for it. Obviously, the beta this weekend coming out as well. I'm excited to get my hands on that. But like I said, Maven, I'm going to play some unhealthy amounts of this.
Yeah. But I think that's one thing to be credited for is like kind of what you said. We're looking to make this game constantly better. It's not kind of like it just, oh, we ship this good game. Every day we're trying to push towards making the process, the spawns, the maps, everything in general that we can touch on that's possible after launch. We're going to be looking to make better. So feedback is always great and appreciated.
Well, Ray, what's fun is it's been exciting thus far. It's been cool to show off some stuff, but we haven't even had our biggest surprise really yet, as far as talking about a map that has yet to been shown to the public, and also some features for the game and Codcaster that have yet to be seen. And for this, we're going to have Michael Condrey join us back on the couch as we get ready to go. But before we start talking about some of the new toys, I just want to get your thoughts so far, Michael. I mean, again, this is a labor of love for you. It's many years in the making, and now you're getting to see some of the world's best compete right now. What's it like to sit back and watch?
No, this is fantastic, and I got to tell you, Hardpoint on Gibraltar is one of my favorites. I'm going to go ahead and start coaching Team Visca moving forward. Is that okay? Because I think, you know, match 3, you're going to see a little different outcome because I'm going to get involved. But no, this is a lot of fun. That map mode combination is one of my favorites.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit, too, about you know, I saw on Twitter, and, you know, it was talked about by various people that you actually went to a lot of these places. You know, you went to Arden, you also went to Gibraltar, you visit a lot of these areas that are actually in the game, and I just want to kind of hear about how special that was. It had to be pretty amazing leading up to the game.
Yeah, it really was. I heard you guys talking about the commitment of all the developers on the team, and that, you know, that transcends beyond just the competitive side of things. It's, you know, how we build the art, how we build the maps, everything that we try and bring to life. And we dedicated the last nearly 3 years of researching and getting out there to literal boots on the ground of where World War II was fought. And so we had an opportunity, the multiplayer art director and I went to Gibraltar to really capture the spirit of this map, and you see it tonight.
No, it's a beautiful map, and that was amazing to see it play out. But I do want to start to get into some of the new things that we haven't really shown off yet.
That's
so
right.
first and foremost, let's talk about the next map. It's going to be Flak Tower, and this is, I believe, right? No one's seen this yet, correct?
Yeah, that's right. We've got 2 really exciting announcements coming up. First looks here. Brand new map, Flak Tower, we teased a little bit. Set in the heart of Berlin. Really small, fast action map, and I think we're going to be playing that on CTF. And then we're going to talk about our new camera system that we lovingly call the Hammer Camera, TM. That's a joke, and I'm going to get in trouble. But it's a great new feature that we really spent a lot of time spending over the last 3 years with Ray and the team to bring to life a better way for fans to participate in understanding and watching the experience unfold.
Certainly, and before we hop, we have to do a video we're going to show up. Before we hop into that, I want to just kind of break down roughly what you know, the Hammer Camera is. You know, what do you think it provides? Just a brief sort of overview of what it is for the viewer.
Yeah, we saw a little preview yesterday. Country tried to slip that in mistakenly, but yeah, we all know that was planned, right? No, but still, it's a really cool way to watch Call of Duty. I think something that's been missing from the past is the ability to kind of translucent all the action that's going on from a top-down view. See the spawns, see the action, see the routes players are taking, see certain divided choke points of how players are maneuvering on the map to kind of cut those off. And I think that's something that's going to be awesome to watch for the casual player as well, to get a better understanding, and also the super kind of strong analyzing points that players like or ex-players like myself and Momo can.
And I think, you know, we all enjoy watching great competitive sporting events, right? And a really elegant camera solution is great for understanding how strategies unfold. And I think Call of Duty, you know, overdue to have a system like this. So I think we're going to see this take part in the cast of the next match. But really, I think for viewers like myself who find the action very fast and quick, will be a huge new way to bring people in to really engage in it.
Well, before we actually hop in and we're going to do the live gameplay, we did put together a bit of a video here to show off some of the excellent features, again, with this Sky camera. So this is the first look at it. It is amazing. I mean, you'll see here a team coming off a spawn, whether this is in CTF, Search and Destroy Hardpoint, kind of seeing opening breaks. That's important, right, Ray?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think for like CTF and even Hardpoint, and basically all their modes, like seeing how teams break out is something that's always been talked about. And now you get to see it real time. You get to see teams playing how they're maneuvering on the map to get to the center hard point or get to the other team's flag, or how to maneuver to get around search and bomb sites. And you can see the strategy from like the real time. I think it's super exciting.
Well, you see an attempted flag pull on one side get shut down. Now, this is great. So you see the flag pull. You'll be able to see where the spawn's coming in. You'll see the flag run here as they'll hit the top side of the map. And I think this is going to be great for, again, showing flag runs in CTF, showing teams spawn out in hardpoint, showing opening breaks in Search and Destroy. There are so many great things that are come out of this. But we'll watch right now as we see the run coming in. Some support there coming from Sharpshooter as the first cap would go in. And, again, this is just a video to highlight it. We're going to play around with it a lot more in the upcoming maps. But I think it's going to be truly spectacular because, I think the sports analogy you used was perfect in the sense if you're watching a football game, you don't watch it through the quarterback's eyes, right? You need to see that bird's eye view so you can break down all the action. One of the more difficult things we have for a first-person shooter is you see it through one player's eyes. It's difficult to tell what people are doing. Yes, we have the mini-map in the top left, which has been amazing, but for all those times where I'm as a commentator saying, hey, look at the top left of the mini-map, now you can actually just go out and show how the action's breaking down. Thank you, because this is the single greatest thing I've ever had in Codcaster.
Well, you're very welcome. We made it just for you, Maven. But no, really, I mean, our game is fast, right? Imagine football played at the speed of Call of Duty. And we committed to this nearly 3 years ago. Every map that you're going to play throughout the season, the competitive season, is going to have this built for it.
Well, Flak Tower is now going to be the map coming up next. And I want to know from you guys, what do you think kind of separates this from maybe some of the other maps? What are people at home going to enjoy about this?
Well, it's one of our small maps, and it's action-packed, nonstop, super fast-paced, kind of a little bit almost what you're used to in the past with the last couple of years with Boost, but it's obviously boots on the ground. Middle map is super important. A little similar to Gibraltar, but obviously less exposure to the center. But you have 2 windows in the middle of the map that kind of play control points, and they help you control the middle cut. Middle cut's everything. As soon as you get through the middle of the map, you're basically right into the other team spawn, an objective, ready to make some action happen and try and get a flag out.
Well, let's take a look. We'll use it kind of a little bit more freely. We haven't, it's a new feature, which we haven't really decided all the perfect uses for it, but we'll show it off a bit here. And just talking about the Skycam, you can see how easy it is to pop out. You can see this, bird's eye view of the attach and zero. You have the triangles there on the player to show what angle they're facing. You have them covered in X-ray, so you can see both squads. Momo, this is pretty damn cool.
It is, and like we're seeing here, we're watching it kind of from Attach's point of view almost. We're following him, but, you have the ability to kind of, lock off that and, just free roam. Have a look what's ahead of him, if anyone's coming behind. And the great thing about this, and I've said it time and time again, is this isn't just like looking at a mini-map. We're going to see live grenades going over buildings. We're going to see smoke actually come out of the ground and, real strategy kind of placing it. Beautiful, absolutely love it, massive fan. But I do want to touch on one thing. Going into this game, Courage has been trash-talking Attach. He's been saying, you're a world champion, and I'm beating you.
That's rough.
That's gotta be painful.
This is not good for him.
Well, this is kind of cool. You can kind of see the defensive stand. It's a zero, and Silly are trying to hold off a 2-man push coming in from Courage and also Tommy to try and get the flag pull out. Zero. And Silly might be able to make enough plays. And there you get to see it. That's a perfect view of kind of the defensive hold. If you saw it from one person's perspective, you may not understand kind of the duo work that goes into the defensive hold there. But yeah, again, this is going to be an excellent feature.
Yeah, you can see how Zero rotated back to his flag instead of overextending. And that's going to show how his teammates are spawning in reaction to that when they clear out their base, how they're able to push through from that, and how they take advantage of the kills they got and whatnot. So I think the coolest thing we watched was the first time where Attach actually pulled a flag. We saw his team was set up around the map, pushing those spawns away from the flag so they can get out clearly. They weren't able to cap it. They didn't really cover all the choke points that the other team was going, and that's mostly because we saw where the enemies were spawning and they didn't predict those spawns correctly. And it's going to be super cool to watch.
Silly, clearly changing things up. Didn't have the best of second games. He's popped out the PPSH, a weapon which, a lot of bullets in that one. You can spray, you can pray, but for me, he's definitely stepping it up, and it's good to see. But again, just kind of going to this sky camera, just kind of seeing where so many people are, where they're pushing, or either sitting in a corner if you're Courage.
Well, he's kind of waiting on support right now, right?
Well,
he's
right
sitting outside the enemy flag. He's waiting here to get a little bit of help. You can see Tommy is trying to push the top side and also play a bit of defense. Courage, he got one, not able to line up both, and that'll be the end of that little stretch.
But you can see the kind of patience that's Jacquard. He has map positioning. He's close to the enemy flag. He's not just trying to push in and kill the defender. He's waiting for his teammates to come and help him out and make sure that the kills he gets count. And that's something that's gonna be like a constant story throughout the year. It's how getting kills, like, there's possibilities of teams winning games without outslaying their team. Something we haven't really seen in the past couple of years. It's something we used to see with
think about Respawn last year. Well, this year, I guess. I mean, it was something like the team that outslayed Respawn won 90% of the time. Like it was so heavily favored. But yeah, the less kills you have on the map throughout the course of a game, the more it slows down. Every kill is so much more important. So like you said, four worthless kills isn't going to mean much as one clutch kill on offense or defense to make a play, right?
No, exactly. And I'm obviously not taking the fact that if a team outslays another team tremendously, they should win 9 times or 99 times out of 100. But it's still important to voice the point that you can still win games without outslaying.
Well, we're going to watch JCap's flag run because he's got the flag right now. You can see the fights going down at mid-map.
And you can almost see kind of the communication. I know that's a silly thing to say, but JCap running right out the outside of the map. You see Tommy, Courage pushing those points out. Attach, though, on the other side. He's got the flag in hand. Courage, though, can he save the day? I think Attach kind of just turned on him there. But no, Attach will be challenged by Tommy, and Tommy clutching up. 1 minute to go. Where was the flag, though? It will be put in, all things tied up.
Yeah, we saw the kind of the stalemate happening from a top thing, which is super cool. You can see how his teams are positioning around the map.
Well, that's another reason that's so great. Like, imagine scenarios where you have a 1 versus 1 in S&D and you only see one POV, or you have a standoff like that where you can only see one of the POVs. There, by the ability to zoom out, you can kind of see all of the chess being played as they're trying to get the return, trying to get the score through. Very, very cool. And again, I haven't had to drive Codcaster the entire year, and I'm doing it today. So bear with me as I'm sort of getting back in the swing of things, and I have a brand new feature to use. But hopefully, you're seeing some of the great uses we'll have here for the Sky Camera.
I think that's another point. We touch on the players. They're going to get better. They're going to work out the ways to push, the things to hold, but. Like driving, the Codcaster itself, we're going to be able to utilize that sky camera so well as we get a little bit more used to it. But looking at it right now, we are going to go into the second side, around draw. Courage again. He seems very excited about that one. He's not winning, but he's happy.
Well, you got to remember, you know, if you're new to Call of Duty Esports, you may not have seen this, but a couple years back, he had the opportunity to play in an all-star game with the pro players, and it was embarrassing. I believe that he only mustered up 1 kill across like 3 maps. There was a lot of trash talk towards Jack because he had a lot of confidence going into it. He was absolutely horrendous. So I think he's definitely trying to maybe prove himself a little bit here.
To be fair, Jack's been playing a lot more Call of Duty since then.
Very true. That's true. That's true. Well, now you can see kind of the opening break and how important mid-map control is. 2 kills immediately go to Team Courage, and this could be a very quick flag pull. Courage, though, wasn't able to cover, I think it was Cap there as the opening push came through. Courage is still here just sitting in a corner, though. Now they're all cleared out.
And you can see, like, the action is super fast. Flag tower is, like, one of our small maps, like I said earlier. It's super important for teams to constantly be maneuvering around the map, pushing those spawns as deep as they can, because you really don't have much room to kind of maneuver around once you don't get those kills, and you're not taking advantage of pushing forward. And they can come back right at you and overextend from those side spawns and get to your base really fast.
Well, here, let's take a look at the push. You see 3 players from the first-person perspective on X-Ray. 0, though, hitting from the other side. Let's kind of zoom it out and take a look at this push.
Ooh, gets a kill. Courage turns around.
See if he can make a play.
They're trading kills, though. Can Silly make? Oh, this is where. Ooh, it's a big kill by Silly.
Can't get the
still unable to do it.
Well, there you see him clear out the defensive end of things.
Yeah.
We'll hop to Dave's POV now.
It was, as you can see there, you kind of saw Team Courage kind of rotate back to their base, make the right plays to cut off their flag, and clear out the opposition. And I think from a Skycam point of view, it was cool to watch. Obviously, one thing that's to be noted is that we're spending a lot of time in Skycam right now. One thing that we'll probably do during the year is spend a lot more time in first person and kind of use Skycam in positions.
Exactly. When I first saw this, the way I kind of viewed it is 90% of the time you're still going to be in the first person perspective that everyone plays at home and everyone enjoys, right? But for those key moments, you know, again, like a spawn out, a flag run, a break and search, maybe a 1v1 at times, there's certainly some moments that I think, because I know for me, for Hardpoint, when I've talked to new viewers, it can be a little tough to digest at times. It's really fast-paced. You know, it's hard to understand the spawns if you're not used to staring at the minimap at the top left like we are. I think the big thing, you know, back to what you and Michael were saying, is it's going to go a long way to, I think, making the game easier to digest. And I think for Codcaster, that is one of the single most important things. Make it easy to watch, right?
Right.
One thing I do want to point out, and this was just as Ray was kind of talking about a couple of minutes ago, we're seeing Team Courage. You know, they're being outslayed. We've got Courage going negative, JCap as well, but they're in that lead. They've made those crucial kills on those runs that they've made, and they've converted the points, which is always nice to see. But with 2.5 minutes left on the clock, looking at the mini-map, Team Visca under a bit of pressure on the defensive side. 0 trying to do everything he can, 22 and 12. We're zooming things out on 0. He's taken from behind from Dave.
And as things get close, I'd like to kind of take this time to preview a feature that we plan on shipping with, and we are going to ship with, is the extended time and capture the flag. In this case right now, you have a 2-to-1 game. Normally, if a 2-to-1 game was happening and there'd be 10 seconds left, both teams kind of drop the controller because there's really no way to pull a flag and bring it back to your base in 10 seconds. What we brought up to our game is that when the flag is out and the time runs out, the time continues. There's an extended time that allows the team that pulls a flag to capture the flag and transfer to scores, bring it back, maybe tie a game, pushing it to stopwatch to have a chance to win the game. Wow. And I think that's something that's going to be super awesome to watch, and we're going to see a lot of kind of like edge-of-your-seat moments to finish some games, and I can't wait to see that in play.
I mean, just kind of another feature, you know, for the in-game, if you like. You know, we've took Sky Camera, obviously, for us spectators, but as a player, for me, that's so important, you know, because, like you said, you've been there as well, putting that controller down, knowing you've lost. It goes down to that last second, you pull that flag, and it's now or never. You know, you've got to, you know, convert that one time.
For me, I like it because it adds drama, right? It adds a sense of urgency. You know, you guys obviously brought Uplink into the fray back in Advanced Warfare. It's become one of the more entertaining modes, and I think this is just something that, adds a little excitement, a little drama to the end of rounds with CTF, which I think will always be a good thing.
No, exactly. And we plan on only using it if the game's close. What we plan on doing is for the first half, kind of have it available for both teams since we play both sides, so make it fair. And the second half, in this case, if Team Courage was to pull a flag out, and Team Visca didn't have a flag out, we probably just end the game because there's no point in kind of pushing the flag forward since the game's technically over.
Here's a good example maybe of, and again, it's not currently in the build. This will be for launch, but in this situation, if 0 had this flag out, right, and there's 45 seconds left, if it hit 0, you'd have an extra 60 seconds to try and make a play, maybe tie up the game. Just to maybe break down an example where this would happen.
How many times are you heartbroken as a player where you actually do get a flag out with like 15 seconds left and you get it back to your base and you're like 3 feet away from capturing it, but the time runs out? That won't happen anymore. If you made the correct plays to get a flag out at the time, you'll have a chance to finish it off.
It wouldn't happen here now as they killed everybody and pulled the flag for the winning team. So it went from a good example to a pretty poor one as Team Courage dominates down the stretch. Courage with the dagger, 3-1. They're getting loud, and they've dominated yet another game.
Yeah, it's just hearing Jack kind of trash talk. It's great.
It's almost painful to hear, but, you know, he's having a good time, and I think it just really portrays. I will say one of the things, the feedback from the players, Tommy in particular, he came over and he said, I have not had this much fun playing Call of Duty in years. And you know what? It's just good to kind of see that positivity from players like Tommy, who's been playing, you know, longer than I have, and, you know, 10, 11, 12 years, however long it is. Great to see. But yeah, Courage. He's excited. He's won 3 back-to-back.
Hey, he's excited. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the preview, a little look at the Sky camera there. And it's honestly, going back to the trip we took to Sledge, it's just great how much, I guess, you listen to the feedback. Because I remember we put together, it was something like just the commentators, but it was myself, Puckett, and Jack. I think it was something like a 25-page document just on stuff we want to see in Concaster, whether it was changes to text, changes to color, small little things. And even when I first saw the Sky camera, I mean, there weren't, X-ray wasn't incorporated yet. You didn't have the triangles you had to show where things were. And a lot of the feedback we gave, it's just amazing that you guys listened and so much has been done already. It's awesome, man.
Kind of like what Kanji said earlier, we're committed to bringing the experience as best as we can, and it comes first of all from feedback from you guys in the community. If we don't listen to you guys, and obviously making this, I have a general understanding, and we as a student have a general understanding of how esports works and whatnot. But it's great to hear from you guys who are constantly driving through the past couple of years. Both of you have been part of the casting group, so I think it's important that we work together in making this the best team possible.
It feels good. I think both sides are winning. When there's cooperation like that, it's been great. But Jack's team, Courage's team, currently I believe has won all 3 games. It hasn't really been close. I don't want to hear what he says, but I'm told that I have to.
Oof, rough series so far for the side of Visca Barca. I'm over here now joining him. My new friend. We've made a lot of great memories so far. Maybe this one not the best for you, but I asked the same question to JCap. I'll pose the same question to you. Initial thoughts on the game? You enjoying your Call of Duty World War II experience so far?
Yeah, the game feels absolutely amazing so far, and I love the gun feeling, boots on the ground finally again, and yeah, I'm very happy.
Oh, most certainly. Now, obviously, smiles about the game, but maybe not the match, and that's because you're going up against the champions here on the side of Team Courage. What does Team Visca Barca need to do to turn things around, maybe at least try to win a map in this best of 5?
I think we have to do more kills and play better as a team, yeah.
I mean, right now. Well, we outplayed you. Thank you so much. Can we team together next year? You and I will be a new team of 2?
Okay, we team together.
All right. Aches, whoever's out there, watch for it. That's probably going on some sort of live stream fail. That handshake was terrible, but you know what? To save that, we're sending it back over to Maven the crew. It's time to get into Game 4.
I hate him.
I love him.
No, he's fantastic. He's fantastic. This is it's been a whole heck of a lot of fun. But no, they continue to win. I'll tell you what, you can talk trash when you are winning every single game, right?
It's true. You guys were both kind of determining the fact that they would lose. I was going with my gut and how they were playing today as a team. I just had a gut feeling.
Jack's my
him
roommate.
to lose more than anything.
He's my roommate, my casting partner, my gym partner. And I wanted to see him fail. I'm going to be blunt, but no, they continue to play well. And what's the single biggest thing that stood out though? I'm curious though for you, maybe Ray, between these two teams, why do you think they keep getting the upper hand?
Honestly, it's just kind of what Momo said last time. They just seem to be making the bigger plays. Like it's really about how you're getting those kills when they matter. You got players like JCap and Tommy that have been obviously outslaying like crazy, but still the kills they're getting are in the right positions, pushing the team back as much as you can and controlling the spawns, making Jack's job really. I want to give Jack credit, but his job's been pretty easy so far. He's kind of. It's almost like me when I was playing with the players I was playing back in my day.
Yeah.
Everyone gave me crap, but I mean, come on, my job was pretty easy to a certain extent, right?
Well, you saw Arden Forest earlier with CTF. Now we're going to be going to Hardpoint. Maybe any key differences between the two modes on this map from your experience when you played them, or does it play similar in a lot of ways?
Well, a lot of the chokes that you see in CTF are like the middle part of the map chokes. In Hardpoint, you see a lot of those kind of like lane-to-lane chokes. 2 of the main hard points that you'll see are in runes, and one in the kind of like the tunnel in the forest side. And those are both middle map hard points. It's kind of like what I said earlier. Even though they're middle map hard points, they're still very scoreable. So that's one thing we're going to see as the map goes on. And it actually starts on one of those hard points as it's in kind of like in that tunnel side.
All right, well, let's kick things off with 0 here in the hard point. Remember, last hard point, it was what, 50-0 start? Something like that?
Yep.
And if you look at the scoreboard, it looks to be a similar beginning here. I know that Michael Condry said he was going to coach the Visca Barca side. I don't see him. I believe he was probably a little too embarrassed to do that. But we looked at Skycam a good bit there in CTF. We'll show it off a bit here as well. As you can see the hard point here to the right. Sky camera from the top POV. Tommy encouraged trying to break in. Attaches the one soaking up time to the right in the hard point. Let's go to Attaches POV now. We'll hop over to him as he's the one holding here trying to get in prime position, rack up some time for his team, who started in a hole again.
And I was going to say that the key thing here for me is rotation straight away. You know, attach, getting that scrap points, but he's going to now have to rotate round. It looked like to me, Team Courage, they were that team that were a little bit smarter. They, you know, tracked back when they needed to, and now we see them set up. Obviously, Tommy and JCap, those 2 veteran players of all 8, really. I think they're very comfortable with what they're doing right now.
I think it's just a communication level. We're sitting pretty close to Visca's team, and they're not really talking as much as Courage's team is. So, I mean, that plays a huge role in rotating and making maneuvers as a team. And that's something that, like you said, we saw. Like, I think Team Courage gave up with like 20 seconds left on the middle hard point. Something you would see like in the past where like both teams are still playing for scrap in the middle. They're like, we understand we can score points in the next hill. Let's move there fast.
Well, Team Courage started to take over yet again. You saw the beginning there from the sky camera, kind of that opening hold as they were able to deal with the push from Team Visca. And you can see, I mean, you only got, what was it, 2 or 3 kind of cracks at the hard point from Team Visca. And I know this isn't the biggest map, but the difference in maneuverability and speed certainly plays a big difference in that.
And also, one thing that plays into this map specifically for this example is that the next hard point kind of goes to your top left side of the mini-map. It goes into bunker. So as that last hard point on the rune side, both teams are kind of flowing through that left side lane, the bottom side lane. It's really important to have the right side at the end of that hard point. Controlling anchor, the anchor for that rune hill is basically close to the same anchor for the bunker hill. So if you're controlling that, you really have to make sure that you keep it. And if you're the other team that's not getting that time on runes, you have to be able to rotate really, really early and make sure you don't give up that extra time on the next hill.
And that was what Team Visca did there. They got those back spawns and obviously anchoring, you know, to kind of dumb it down. Some people may not know, but, you know, just getting behind that hard point, getting those spawns for your team and making sure you're getting the better spawn. You're spawning closer to that hard point every single time. And it's actually nice to see Team Visca. They're learning, they're adapting, and maybe this is where they can start the comeback. Of course, 3 maps down. They need to not go down embarrassingly.
Well,
but,
they can't win this anymore if it was a best of 5. But maybe for pride, at least get a map. Yeah. They may have lost all of their pride at this point. And
don't get 5-0'd by Courage.
Yeah, that's rough.
I'm not looking forward to his tweets after this. I'll tell you that much.
He's actually started very well again. 8-5 for Courage.
Disgusting.
We should hop on more with Courage. I think we should watch him a little bit.
Let's
see how well he's shooting.
Show him some love.
See what he's doing.
And I think also something I'd like to point out is that we're seeing a pretty good diversity in weapon play already. We don't have a limited option of weapons, but you're still seeing a few. You've seen PPSH, you've seen a Type 100, you've seen the SEG. We haven't seen much of the M1 Grand, which is one of the weapons I feel like is a very strong choice in our game as well, but is a little more difficult once you're not really in the right positions. As we've seen before, it's semi-automatic weapons. So, it's going to be awesome to watch this year. Diversity between divisions and weapon play.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of different phases of meta. Kind of what Momo was saying earlier, how at the start of a game you'll see probably something redundant, but as it goes on, you'll see different players experimenting and seeing what things work and don't work for them.
Should be awesome. And Zero really on a hot streak. He had, I think, a 7 streak earlier, 3 in a row now. The 4th just tacked on and challenging the 5th.
Ooh, big 2-piece.
Nice shots there from Zero, and that secures the hard point, right? He's almost in a 1v2 there as they're transitioning over. Wisely backs down and plays his life. Some big plays here, and a big reason why Team Visca has now taken a lead in this game, which they have not been able to say really throughout the past hour.
Yeah, that's true. They're actually winning.
Prime example there as well. You know, using the Molotovs. You know, something I've not had the chance to unlock myself. I didn't really know how to get them or what I needed to do, but you know, showing that you can kind of just stop a choke point or try and break an entry from that. Zero obviously working towards those score streaks as well. But it didn't seem to work out. One thing I've noticed though, and more of kind of a question maybe Ray can answer, they're just seeing a lot more grenades. We've seen kind of the likes of armor. I think you were touching on there. Is there anything that you need to be rocking kind of on hardpoint to kind of stop yourself from getting grenaded so much? Because it seems like they're very powerful.
Yeah, I think most of the players actually use the armor divisions, which is something that gives you flak jacket and tac mask. So it's something that obviously helps you survive grenades and live longer on a hard point. You still eventually die if you get hit by a couple, but it normally allows you to survive from a pretty strong blast to start with. So that's something you'll probably see like the objective style players, kind of like the means you use back in our time, back in the days.
That's why I'm asking. I'm trying to get some hints for when I play. What do I need to use? Because I think the one person, if you want to say in the whole world, is Ray. He kind of knows everything. He knows the rotations, the spawns.
Smartest man alive, knows everything. Settle down there,
match up against him online.
He actually is good at just about everything. He's good at golf, good at bowling, good at video games. Great head of hair.
Nice gassing.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, Dave.
What did Dave just
4x,
do?
4 kills. You got the ace there.
What did Dave just do?
That'd be money in fantasy right now.
And I think that's what we've not seen in so long. You know, we've not seen a player being able to just wipe out a team with pure kind of positioning and gun skill because of, you know, the mechanics of the game. And Dave, you know, single-handedly there, wiping out all of Team Visca. But look how close this game is.
And not taking anything away from it. It's still really hard to get 4 kills, especially on boots. Like once you get tagged, it's really easy to lose a gunfight because you can't really just outmaneuver someone as much as you could in the past. So
no, I looked at the numbers from a tournament recently, and there was only like 4 of those total, like the 4K.
Right.
It's very, very, very rare. So Dave putting on a bit of a show, but right now watching Tommy, who's
why
been
is Jack
throughout.
17 and 11? What is going on here?
What I like about Jack, which you guys can't see at home, is the fact that he keeps physically moving left and right. I don't know if he's trying to dodge the bullets in real life, but he's definitely getting, you know.
Too bad we can't do like a split cam of like
exactly.
him right now.
People kind of said this game is very, you know, in a cliche way that, you know, you feel like you're there almost, but Jack is he's acting like he's in the battle right now.
I don't think he meant to get that second kill, but he did. He's like controlled by he's possessed by some newfound Jack.
He's 20 and 11 right now.
He's gonna have to brand some new stuff, I think.
It's as soon as he started heating up, the team took over. Well, it might be behind Dave's 4-piece though, probably a big part of that. But what was once a Team Visca lead is now a 60-point advantage here for Team Courage as we rotate over to the next hard point. Tommy also 5 kills in a row. Streaks out.
There, yeah. Speaking of streaks, I kind of want to come back on the Molotov as we see this glide bomb pick up 1 kill in the middle of the map. The Molotovs is something, actually watching the players play today, they're really spammy with it. They kind of toss 2 really fast. The thing with the Molotov is it does more damage when it hits first, and then it does a little bit of like consistent damage afterwards. But the next part of the damage isn't nearly strong enough to really kill
someone. Well, if you pull
fast.
them out and use 1, do you have the second if you were to drop? Or if you were to die? Do you get it through respawn?
You get the mollies to respawn. So I think it's really, like, the players will probably see as you go on, that, like, the really strength of it. Obviously, you can get a kill with it if you throw it at a hard point, but negating area of damage for as much as you can, like.
Well, there's some spamming like you talked about. He just kind of tosses 2 over the top, tries to connect.
I think something you'll see a lot more is like in CTF or in other modes like hardpoint when they're trying to cut off a main choke point, players pushing through. You'll see him throw 1 and slow the other team down, give his teammates a chance to come through, and then throw the second one to kind of give his teammate an even more better chance to get properly positioned for the next oncoming push.
I was trying to watch their pushes. They were trying to rotate over the next hard point. Unfortunately for Team Courage, several dropping. Visca should be engaging here momentarily with Dave. Well, eventually you think they'll see each other. Oh, nice 2 kills there from Visca.
What was that like? Visca with the 2-piece.
Well, he sees a couple more. Fwiz, he's been retired for quite some time now, but we do miss him dearly.
It's coming down to the wire, man. I think Team Visca has a chance to get this. They just need to play really smart about this next rotation. The rotation on the Rune hardpoint for this map is the most important one because it gives you better positioning for the hardpoint that follows as well.
Okay.
So how, like, as you see right now, Team Courage is on the right side of the map for this next hardpoint. So as Team Visca here pushes through, they need to push through this bunker side. They need to cut off that next push of spawns, as you can see on the left side of the minimap, and see how they can control that. Those are the big fights coming up right here.
Well, let's see. It's going to be what on?
Yeah, Tommy's
on
in the right
Courage
position.
and Tommy.
Courage
drop, Tommy drop. That's giant. That's
a huge
Visca
fight. And as now you see, as you can see, like on the top-down view, we can see how Team Visca's is now spawned on the right side of the map, and they're going to be flowing through. Even though they don't have control of the hardpoint directly, they have the good spawns for this hardpoint and the falling hardpoint if they can hold on to it.
Well, here we go. They're trying to break on through. Contested right now as Tommy is still up. A 2 versus 2. Dave trying to get in from behind, but he's cleaned up by attached. Tommy somehow survived for quite a long time.
Okay.
With the hard point now controlled by Team Visca, and they've got 24 seconds
remaining.
Here
it is. This is right here. Team Courage is actually trying to fight this hill straight on. As you can see, all the arrows are kind of bunched up. No matter, even if they do get the kills on this hard point, Team Visca is going to have the good sponsor neck hard point. So they have to kind of like kill two layers of kills because they didn't push through on the map and make the correct place to break the spawns as they should.
Well, let's pan across. We'll kind of keep an eye on Team Visca. They're basically setting up a mid-map for the cutoffs as Team Courage will try to rotate out and make a play. Courage drops. Dave tries to make a play. I'm going to go to Dave's POV real quick.
These are the huge kills happening right now as Dave is pushing for the pinch. So if his teammates can get those kills, those spawn kills in the back, then they're going to get control, and this is probably going to end the game. But if they don't, they can actually lose this.
Yeah,
that was huge kills.
Yeah, this is not good.
This is not good. Visca has to clutch up here. These are the kills that we're talking about that really matter. If they get this series of kills here, they win the map. If they don't, they most likely lose.
Let's see his POV. The collapse comes in. They're able to break through. Courage and the hard point. 10 more seconds needed. And you can see spawning out right now is Team Visca. They're going to have to try and break on through. Let's take a look at it from the sky cam as they'll try to bust into the building and break into the hard point. 3 more seconds needed. Final seconds ticking away. Another victory to Team Courage. 4 straight maps.
Ouch.
It's starting to get painful.
I hope you're not flying back at Courage because you're going to be talking about
I know, right? It's always going to talk about. But no, there's going to be so many cool ways to use the sky camera. I've only had hands on with it a couple times, and I don't know the maps or rotations as well as I should. I haven't played the game that much yet, but it's going to be amazing, especially when you get in the hands of someone that knows what they're doing. But you can see how cool it can be just when you're trying to show those 4-on-4 breaks, or I don't know. I absolutely love it. It's amazing, man.
No, I think that the depth it allows to show us in strategy and how the teams play and maneuvering the spawns is super important. It's something I feel like that's been missing. Obviously, we would point out to the minimap in the past, but seeing it in real time, and as we work in making things better for that as well, like catching the action was somewhat difficult at certain points. We're going to keep working with you guys to make that the best possible experience.
I mean, again, it's improved so much just since I was there at Sludge a couple months ago. Can't wait to see as it develops throughout the course of the game. That goes for the sky camera and also for Codcaster in general. I'm sure we'll see a ton of improvements. But Momo, this final game 5 is this where Team Visca finally gets on the map.
He can't win 5 in a row. This is not right. I mean, I don't know if Tommy needs to throw this one, if he needs to kind of say, we got to keep Jack's ego down here. But no, they've got to go for it. I think they've got everything going for them. I think they've kind of adapted a little bit more, a bit quicker. If you like, these guys haven't had a lot of time. Of course, I know some of them were at Sledge, playing this a few weeks ago and have put a lot of time into the game. But it amazes me how quickly these guys can pick it up and just kind of get that strategy and kind of really start implementing that in the game straight away. So even on, game 5, these might have been played 5, 10, 20 times, but these guys know what they're doing already, but they've got a lot to learn still.
Yeah, obviously communication, I think, has been the biggest topic. If we want to talk about the actual game here, like, Team Courage is just so much more vocal about what they're doing, and you can hear the calls from here. Team Visca is not as into it, so it's obviously making a big difference.
All right, let's get into our final game, and we have a new map here to check out in our 5-game series. Talk to me a little bit now about this final map, Ray.
So yeah, it's Point du Hoc. This is not necessarily going to be one of our competitive maps. I think this map has a lot of qualities that a good public match map has. But for competitive, I think there's a lot of choke points, a lot of different things that play.
Frantic, and fun.
Yeah, very, very close range game. I mean, you can see shotguns really dominant on this map. And I really hope we see one of the players pull one out. But considering how they set up their class so far, maybe they won't. But it's very kind of like trenchy, close quarter combat. You have the outside lane that kind of offers those longer side lines. You have a few turrets around the maps that kind of allow you to control certain spaces. But in general, it's super about kind of like making the right pushes at the right time and getting really deep nitty-gritty with those close range engagements.
I just want to say, this is the first time I've ever seen this map. And when I see this map, this is what makes me think of World War II. You see the trenches, you see, the position of, like the bunkers, those little slits and those mounted guns. This, for me, is what World War II is kind of all about, and it kind of, drives that home. So, maybe not a competitive map, but this is one where, maybe get that flamethrower in these trenches,
and
hell yeah. You're going to light a few players up.
You roast people with a flamethrower in this map, dude. It's great.
Yeah, this is one of those maps, it'd be very fun to go into pubs and just completely dominate. I'm going over to Dave for a moment just because Dave, he ended on a hot streak in that game 4. He's destroying right now at 8-1. We tried to create balanced teams. To be fair, Jack did pick the teams.
Yeah, and I want to say Jack put him in their favor, but Jack's been performing pretty well. We'll have to give him that. He's been holding his own. We've seen, and kind of like Momo said, there's certain players that kind of pick up things quicker, and communication, the hype that Jack brings is probably just enough to put him over to the edge.
We'll see. Right now, it is a lead for Visca at least, a 3 streak right now for Attach. We'll see if he can maybe build towards some streaks to try and make a play. New hardpoint just popped up. You see that major alert.
And again, Team Courage just out-rotating Team Visca. It's been, even though this map obviously doesn't maybe not have the main characteristic that you search in the competitive map, but still very much so has that control point that you need in every single map of our
it's
World War II.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the rotation is so much more important. You can't just, fly around a corner, slide around a corner, or try and get somebody's maybe if they're L-triggering and, hard aiming a corner. That advantage that maybe hasn't existed so much in the past couple of titles is absolutely alive and well, and you've already seen it here several times.
And even though we're not really showing it today, Search and Destroy has been a very, very different experience in the past couple of years. Boost, you saw a lot of kind of like 4-man pushes on both sides, just kind of like clashing each other in the middle of the map. I don't think you're going to see that so much anymore. You'll see some pushes, some rushes, but you'll see a lot more splitting up on defense. You'll see a lot more general understanding as teammates kind of learn the routes and which way they can get faster. And obviously, nade spots are huge. Like grenades are an immense use in this game, and understanding how to get them quickly to certain choke points as team push breakout are going to be a huge advantage for the teams that do it right.
one thing that I'm seeing and I'm loving is, we've seen Dave, maybe had an okay series so far, but he's really excelling, and I'm thinking, why is this? And he's rocking that submachine gun, he's rocking that Type 100, and this for me again brings back the fact that there's going to be roles, there's going to be maps which, your SMGs are going to be better at, the ones where you're going to have long range of sights for, the assault rifles as well. And I like that, he's not just going to be, all favoring one side or one, I can't even think of the word, the classes, if you like, obviously for these guys, they're going to have to change, they're going to have those roles, and it's nice to see because we saw Zero and Tommy just dominating, and now we're seeing that SMG player really in his element.
Right, for a map of this style and kind of like Blackout, you'll probably see more SMGs than ARs, and if not, you'll probably see all SMGs and ARs depending on how the team decides to play it. And I feel like that's a cool part about our games. So you're going to have different combinations, certain maps that kind of cater, like Momo said, to different play styles, and really like where certain players shine. And I think that's something super cool. Like the objective players like ourselves that in the past would have a better chance of getting kills, as most of the kills we're getting are in that close range fight, and we have the objective mindset in play to make that happen.
Well, back to the kind of the gameplay here. Dave, who started out very strong, is still crushing. 20-7, and this is a guy that started to really kind of blow up and I think make a name for himself over the past couple of years. He's become an absolute esports juggernaut in the European side of things, and I hope some of that's actually coming through the mic, but apparently Jack was just destroyed.
Jack is really happy Dave's on his team right now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Courage sitting pretty at 13 interactions. Dave, he's breaking 30 already, working towards 35, and he's definitely having a good game, but again, it's just kind of nice to see the difference in the play style. And again, I said it before, I think it was on the first map that we saw, or no, Gibraltar. I'm looking at this and just kind of the visual effects of what we're seeing is kind of so pretty, but so different. You're seeing, the different weathers, the different kind of, the times almost within the World War II. This span panned out a lot of time, and you kind of see in each different part, which is very nice to see as well.
Stop, well, you did see Silly destroy him from the sky cam, and also saw Courage there with a team kill, but the fight going down mid-map here with 30 seconds left on the hard point.
And what's awesome to watch, again, is kind of like Dave's got, 40 interactions now, he's got 28 kills, and the game is still within reach. It's like a 10-point difference, and not saying that the kills he's been getting have not been the good ones, but Dave is probably getting a lot of kills that aren't as useful to scoring points right now, and that's kind of the way it goes. It's really important to make those kills count, and his team should be winning a lot more right now with that kind of performance.
And I haven't seen if he's been turning them into streaks too, right? It's one thing if you're gonna play a little bit selfish and try to, just pick up kills that maybe aren't as crucial. If you can get streaks, that could be the difference down the road. But 3 dead now. Let's pop it out and just see where the spawn is going to come in for the red team. They're all going to spawn together here on the right side of the map as they're trying to push down and deal with Attach and Silly. But as 2 more fall off a spawn, things have slowed down. Visca Barca comes in from behind, and everybody there eliminated.
And again, in Hardpoint, like even though this map is it's a little bigger size, I'd say, compared to the rest of our maps, probably on the medium side. But one thing you see a lot is how players spawn out and how long it takes for them to get back to the Hardpoint. And I don't think we'll be able to emphasize that enough. That positioning, and also that's kind of what Momo said earlier, is that when you die, you're really penalized. You have to make that when you die, you have to make sure your team has control and you're trading that kill.
It's crazy how different, just thinking of Sledgehammer's last title when you go to Advanced Warfare, how different Hardpoint is in the sense of, I think back to what a map like Biolab, where you would spawn and you could get to the Hardpoint and back with a couple dashes and a sprint. It's 5 seconds and you're there. That's not going to be the case, especially, and again, you haven't gone through, selected what maps are going to be the esports maps for Hardpoint, but yeah, the bigger it is, the more punishing it's going to be, and even with the pace of this, some of the smaller maps too. You're only getting a couple cracks these Hardpoints, and as you continue to mention, those early rotations are going to prove so crucial.
Exactly.
Jack is
losing full. He's losing full right now.
Yeah, he's not having a good time. And with Dave, packing 32 kills, he's still in the game, luckily for him. But again, a very close game. And I think, what Ray said before, those kills, are they also important? Are they in the right place? I'm seeing Dave kind of just, linger around, maybe pick up a few unnecessary ones. We are going to see Dave on your screen mounting, taking that height advantage, again, which we've not seen in a very long time because everyone's had that ability to be at the same height or just kind of jump 30 foot in the air.
Yeah, eliminate that height advantage.
Yeah, fix that and press the button.
Yeah. Well, a lead back to Team Courage. Tommy finding a couple of
Team
kills.
Visca. We want to see a little. We don't want to see them part ways.
One victory, please. Yeah. Attach is the problem.
Attach is the problem. That's the. They're all kind of.
I can't even hear if they're talking to each other.
Well, that's it. Jack's actually on the far side for you guys at home, and that's all we can hear. Mainly just Jack. I'm hearing Tommy as well, especially in mats 1 and 2 when he was going off as well. I tell you what, watching this, and a lot of people will ask me that question because I've kind of seen it firsthand. Is what's my favorite weapon? What am I looking at? This Type 100, it is deadly. I'm liking the fact, that kind of quick reload, that fast aggressive play, and you move a little bit quicker with it as well. I'm liking the look of Type 100.
Yeah, the Type 100 is one of our kind of easier to control weapons as far as recoil is concerned. The damage is a little bit on low end compared to other SMGs, so that plays into a big difference, especially when you map like this one. I think someone using the PPS Sage would probably have a better off chance of getting those close range kills against the Type 100. So if you had a head-on-head engagement, Type 100 PPS Sage in close range, PPS Sage is probably the better end. If you get close to that mid-range as you're kind of falling away, Type 100 is a lot easier to connect hits with because of the recoil, and that makes that weapon a little stronger. So versatility-wise for these pro players, that's something you want to see a lot. That's probably the biggest thing they look for in a weapon is really the ability to kind of be able to fight at different ranges around the map. So Type 100 is something you're going to see a lot, at least with our restricted amount of weapons in this build.
Ray, I fear that I'm going to abandon my friends, family, and girlfriend when this game releases. Like,
I've already warned my girlfriend.
I cannot wait to play out. I've warned mine too. I'm like, babe, it's going to be a couple months of me not really moving a whole lot. I am so looking forward to grinding the game, man. It looks so fun. It was cool to obviously see the guys get some hands-on with this and see the pro players. Obviously, they're new to the game. Most of them haven't spent much time, so don't know the exact strategies, even rotations, but it's been really cool just to hear how excited they've been, how much fun they're having, and get them to enjoy World War II before a couple months before it releases.
Visca's got a chance. Oh, thought they had a chance to bring it back here.
No, I'm gonna go over to Team Courage because Dave's about to drop 40. They're about to drop the 5th map in a row.
Is there another player interview after this?
Huh?
There's no player interview after this, right?
Oh, I hope not.
I hope not.
No, there may be. There may be, though. I'm not entirely
interview
sure.
himself knowing Courage of how well he's played and how successful he's going to be in the next year.
Oh. Can we just pass that? Can we skip ahead?
He's now, and I can hear him, I don't know if you guys, he's actually giving strategy to the 3 professional players of what the armor class does and everything. I just love how passionate he is about it, and I think that's kind of showing through. But I'm getting a little bit, agitated. I want to get hands-on. I kind of want to get in there and have a go myself. I had a chance to kind of play the game outside, and, it was a bit one-sided. I think we had the stronger team. I had some very strong players, but when
It's
you
not
go
over
to
yet.
Not over yet.
They're starting about the comeback. What if they get the final 20 or so seconds here? It'll be all but a tie game. If they can hold the remainder is the question. But as I say that, Team Courage has now gotten inside the hard point.
Even you always got to jinx it.
I may have jinxed it. They only need 5 more seconds here.
And actually, wait a second. Here, Visca has the rotation on lock.
That's true.
As long as they don't let him win on this hard point, they have a chance.
Let's see if Attachment Company can hold these final couple of seconds. They're able to do that. And like you said, they've got the next rotation.
Someone get on the hard point. Come on.
Zero and them starting to wrap back. With this 3-man push, let's take a look at it from the
streak. We got a streak coming
sky
down.
camera. Streak's
There's
coming.
Oh, that was awesome.
That might be the comeback. That actually gets 2.
That's
Zero
2,
gets the one at the bottom.
That's
this
clear.
might be the victory. Let's see where the spawn. Where's the spawn coming in? You see one
all
there.
the way up top. Yeah, they should have
one all the way at the top.
I think this is it.
They're trying to push across. The 5-0 dream is dead with the final tick. Victory for Visca Barca. Oh, man, that was fun. But, we've got Michael Condrey back with us. I want to chat a little bit about it. I mean, that had to be fun, right? You got to see 5 matches played here from the players. We got to show off the sky camera as well. I need to learn how to use it a little bit better, I'll be honest with you, but I'm new to it.
You've done
but
a pretty good job.
It was pretty darn cool, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, that was great to watch. And, after Game 4 there, we took the aimbot chips out of Courage's side of things, and we turned things around there. So, come November, it's going to be a little different story. But, no, in all seriousness, that was great. It was good to see this high-level play on maps that we've been working on for a long time, new features. Everybody at the studio who's tuned in, I know, is very proud of this work. I'm proud of them. And it's just amazing to finally have the chance to have fans get their hands on the game.
Well, before we wrap up and talk high level about some of the things we covered, anything maybe you want to say to the fans? Sledgehammer is back. We've got the most hyped Call of Duty that I can remember in a long, long time, and I'm really excited about it. But anything, just say to the fans at home, coming from you and Sledge.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I mean, it really has been a great honor to bring this game to life, and it's been a pride and passion for 3 years. The beta is your chance to tell us how we've done. Let us know what we've done well, so we keep doing it, and feedback on ways to continue to refine as we approach November. But yeah, the hype is real. The game is exciting. Watching this happen is going to make next year just really phenomenally fun for everybody. And tune in starting Friday to get your hands on it yourself.
It's going to be great. And then a couple of things, we showed off the Sky camera, but I want to talk a little bit just about your guys' dedication to esports, because I know, this wasn't an esports match exactly, but we had a lot of our top players from around the world, and we're getting closer and closer to launch and closer to some of these amazing events and esports stuff going down. But I just want to reiterate for the people that may have tuned in a little bit late, talk to me about how important it's been getting ready to be part of the team and also having out some of us casters to work on broadcaster and having some of these pro players out and hearing their feedback.
Yeah, I know it's been phenomenal. And look, as many people watch the game being played as playing, and so that's exciting for us. And for the last 3 years, we wanted to bring those two things together because we believe that makes the game better for everyone. So having Ray as a pivotal member of, like you said, a much broader design team in the MP team has been important. Having a great relationship with you guys has been important. And we think that the game speaks for that.
It certainly does. And well, Ray, thank you for all the amazing games you've given us from an esports perspective, whether I've been casting or watching you play, and now working on this incredible game. Thank you for coming on, and Michael, to you as well.
Thank you.
I'm excited. I think everybody at home is excited. Thank you to those that tuned in today. Remember, the beta right around the corner. If you haven't pre-ordered the game yet, do it. It's launching in just a couple short months, but thank you to everyone that tuned in. We'll see you later.